Failure of Chinese VT4 tanks on the international market. In recent years, China has been actively promoting its military equipment on the international market, positioning it as a modern and effective alternative to Western models. However, the reality turns out to be not so rosy as it is presented in advertising brochures. A vivid example was the situation with the VT4 main battle tank, which China positioned as its most advanced export model. In 2019, Nigeria purchased 35 VT4 tanks, expecting to receive modern and reliable equipment. However, already during the first exercise, it became clear that the tanks were unable to fire. Nigerian generals were shocked that it took up to half an hour to prepare for a shot. In a real battle, the tank would have been destroyed by the enemy during this time. Less than 2 years of operation revealed many serious problems that forced Nigeria to look for an alternative in the form of Russian T-90s. The reasons for this deplorable situation lie in the very concept of the VT4. In essence, it is a hybrid of outdated Soviet technology from the 1970s and an imitation of some Western solutions. Without access to advanced materials and production technologies, Chinese engineers failed to create a reliable and efficient machine. Engines constantly leaked, fuel pumps failed, and oil leaks led to overheating. Out of 10 engines, 9 of them had leakage problems. The slightest spark could lead to fire and explosion. Despite loud claims of compliance with Western standards, the VT4 was significantly inferior to modern US and European tanks in terms of key characteristics. The fire control system, although equipped with modern electronics, is significantly less effective than that of the French Leclerc or the Israeli Merkava. Claims about the frontal armor's ability to withstand 120 mm armor-piercing shells are not backed up by reliable tests. The 1300 engine has improved mobility over previous models, but is still inferior to modern Western turbodiesels. The combat control system is hopelessly behind its European counterparts. Interestingly, even the Chinese army preferred the VT4 to the more reliable, though technologically less advanced Type 99 tank. Its design with a high hull and small turret allowed to strengthen the frontal armor, but at the expense of weakening the sides. Even the frontal armor, equivalent to 650 to 750 nm of homogeneous steel, is vulnerable to modern Western armor-piercing shells. The Type 99A uses an obsolete carousel loading system inherited from the Soviet T-72. This poses serious risks of ammunition detonation if it hits the side or roof. Western tanks use safer insulated compartments in the aft part of the turret, but Chinese engineers were unable to implement such a solution due to technological limitations. The Type 99, a fire control system, while superior to the Russian T-90, is far inferior to its Western counterparts in terms of information integration and control capabilities. In essence, it is an old radio against the background of smartphones of American and European tanks. The Type 99A's 1,200 horsepower diesel engine is inferior to Western gas turbine propulsion systems in terms of adaptability to difficult conditions. The tank has difficulty operating in rough terrain. The Type 99 also lacks effective protection against improvised explosive devices and overhead attacks, making it vulnerable to modern anti-tank missiles. This is a clear consequence of China's lack of real-world combat experience. By 2010, many Western tanks already had a level of protection equivalent to 700 to 800 nm of armor. The Type 99A is virtually incapable of penetrating such protection in the frontal projection. Attempts to increase the power of armor-piercing shells within the existing dimensions are unrealistic, and large-scale modernization is too expensive. China's export policy in the field of armored vehicles is quite revealing. The country has sold more than 800 tanks to more than 50 countries, mostly obsolete second-generation models at very low prices, about $5 million per unit. By comparison, modern Western tanks cost many times more. Many of these export models have serious shortcomings, and the Chinese army itself does not use them. According to a defense industry insider, this is a deliberate tactic by the Chinese government. The goal is to use other countries as a testing ground to gather data on the performance of immature technologies under real-world conditions. This approach not only hurts the reputation of Chinese weaponry, but also hinders the development of stable military systems. Interestingly, Chinese tank assembly lines have sprung up all over the world, from the Middle East to Central Asia and Africa. Iran, Kazakhstan, Pakistan, South Africa, Uganda, and Zimbabwe all have facilities to produce Chinese armored vehicles. Many of these tanks are sold to Russia and used on the Ukrainian front, allowing China to circumvent Western sanctions. Despite a claimed number of 7,300 tanks, most of China's tank fleet consists of outdated models. The main Type 96 has only about 300 units. The more modern Type 99 A2 is available in numbers of only 500 vehicles. In the event of a conflict in the Taiwan Strait, moving these elite units eastward would leave the western borders vulnerable to India, whose tank forces pose a serious threat. In the summer of 2022, China undertook a massive armored vehicle transfer aimed at a possible operation against Taiwan. Thousands of tanks, BMs, and SAOs were concentrated in East Coast ports. However, thanks to U.S. intelligence vigilance and strong diplomatic moves, including Nancy Pelosi's visit to Taiwan, these plans were thwarted. The situation surrounding Chinese tanks clearly demonstrates the gap between Beijing's ambitions and the actual capabilities of its defense industry. Despite significant progress in recent decades, China still lags behind the world's leading manufacturers in key technologies. This calls into question the PRC's ability to stand up to modern armies in the event of a real conflict. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed the content, don't forget to give us a like and subscribe to our channel. We try to provide you with the most relevant and objective information about the situation in the world. Stay with us and stay up to date with the latest news. We wish you a peaceful sky above your head and all the best.